Imagine living in a city where nights turn into nightmares, a place where an unseen predator hunts, strikes without mercy, and then taunts the police with chilling letters filled with strange symbols and cryptic codes. Every message was a game, every murder a riddle, and the most terrifying part, he was never caught. He called himself the Zodiac, a name so haunting it sent shockwaves across America. But the question remains, who was this faceless killer? And what secrets still hide inside his twisted messages? Imagine living in a city where nights turn into nightmares, a place where an unseen predator hunts, strikes without mercy, and then taunts the police with chilling letters filled with strange symbols and cryptic codes. Every message was a game, every murder a riddle, and the most terrifying part, he was never caught. He called himself the Zodiac. The story begins in Northern California, late 1960s, a time of peace, rallies, freedom movements, and a sense of change in America. But hidden in the shadows was a man who would turn fear into legend. On December 20th, 1968, high school sweethearts Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday parked their car on Lake Herman Road for a quiet evening together. Moments later, they were brutally murdered, shot without warning. The crime scene was cold, empty, and without a single clue. Just months later, another attack followed. This time, survivors described a mysterious figure wearing a dark hood, carrying a gun and a knife. The attacker claimed more lives, leaving the police baffled. But it wasn't the murders alone that made this case unforgettable. It was what came afterward. Newspapers across San Francisco received letters, written in a mocking, chilling tone. The writer bragged about the killings, taking credit with eerie confidence. But he didn't stop there. Each letter contained strange ciphers, codes that seemed impossible to break. In one of them, he wrote, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." The words were not just disturbing, they revealed a killer who craved attention, who wanted to play with fear like a game. The press published the ciphers, and amateur detectives, professors, even military codebreakers tried to solve them. One family eventually cracked a message, but it only deepened the mystery. It didn't reveal his identity, only his obsession with murder. The Zodiac demanded his letters be printed on the front page of major newspapers, threatening to kill more if they refused. The city was gripped with terror. Parents warned children not to go out at night, couples avoided quiet roads, and police patrols doubled. But no matter how hard authorities tried, the killer always seemed steps ahead, mocking them, laughing at their failures. And then came the most chilling detail. In one of his letters, the Zodiac claimed he had already killed dozens more than police even knew about. If true, it meant his darkness reached far beyond what anyone imagined. But was he lying? Or was San Francisco living with a monster far deadlier than they realized? The city waited in fear, the police struggled in the dark, and the killer kept writing. But the Zodiac wasn't finished. His next move would push the game to a whole new level and leave investigators questioning whether they could ever stop him. The Zodiac had already terrified California with brutal murders and taunting letters. But what came next would push fear to its peak, because this killer didn't just want to kill, he wanted to be remembered forever. On July 4, 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau were sitting in a car at Blue Rock Springs Park. Suddenly, headlights flashed behind them. A man approached, armed with a pistol, and opened fire. Darlene was killed instantly. Mike barely survived. Within an hour, police received a chilling phone call. The caller calmly confessed to the crime and to the murders from the previous year. His voice was cold, steady, almost proud. The Zodiac had revealed himself again, but he didn't stop there. Over the next months, more letters arrived. One contained a 408-symbol cipher that, when cracked, revealed his twisted motive. He claimed he was collecting victims to serve him as slaves in the afterlife. Another letter warned that he would attack a school bus, shoot out the front tire, and pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out. Panic swept through California. Parents refused to send children to school. Police escorted buses with armed patrol cars. The Zodiac wasn't just killing, he was holding an entire city hostage with fear. One of the most bizarre attacks came on September 27, 1969, at Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking by the water, when a man appeared wearing a black hood marked with a strange white crosshair symbol, the same symbol that would become the Zodiac's signature. He tied the couple up and brutally stabbed them. Cecilia later died, but Brian survived to give police a chilling description of the masked killer. Still, even with the survivor's testimony, the Zodiac slipped away once again. Only 2 weeks later he struck again, this time in San Francisco. Paul Stein, a cab driver, picked up a passenger who directed him to a quiet street. The man suddenly pulled out a gun, killing him point blank. Witnesses saw the killer wipe down the taxi and calmly walk away. Shockingly, responding officers drove past the Zodiac himself, mistaking him for a civilian. It was the closest police ever came to catching him. The letters grew stranger. Some included pieces of Paul Stein's bloody shirt as proof. Others contained new ciphers, some solved, others still unbroken to this day. The Zodiac claimed as many as 37 victims, though only a handful could be confirmed. Investigators chased countless leads, from handwriting experts to cryptographers. Suspects like Arthur Lee Allen became prime targets, but evidence was never enough to convict. Decades passed, and still no arrest. Modern technology, including DNA testing, has reopened the case, but the killer's true identity remains hidden. Was he a brilliant criminal mastermind, or just an ordinary man who slipped through the cracks? The Zodiac once wrote, "I am waiting for a good movie about me." He wanted fame, and in a twisted way, he got it. His symbol, his codes, his words, they've haunted America for over 50 years. And yet, the greatest question of all remains unanswered. Who was the Zodiac Killer? Perhaps he's long dead. Perhaps he lived a normal life, blending into the crowd. Or perhaps the Zodiac is still out there, smiling at the fact that he got away with it all.